Upon assuming office, the President Emmerson Mnangagwa-led government, the Second Republic, outlined their strategy for bringing about development targeting all corners of the country. A host of projects spanning across sectors which include agriculture, energy provision and mining have been initiated. Some have been completed, while others are at varying levels of completion. A trip to Cholosho reveals a community who can testify to the changes brought about in their day-to-day lives by the setting up of a solar plant. About 70 kilometers from Cholosho Center is Bemba village. The locals have a name for this village, Emakuswini Komnyamobambile. Loosely translated, this means where darkness has a grip. The folk here are happy. They have a story to tell on how their lives changed after a government arm, the Rural Electrification Fund, set up a solar power plant for them. Mangwenya, one of the villagers who we met along a pathway leading to a homestead, tells us about the life-changing initiative.
Sasihlezi nje sikwamnyambani sasingacabanga ukuthi kungayenzeka into enje ngoba bebuya abantu laba vele zange sabakholwa thina ngoba lo besebenza sasithi abantu laba bayahlanya laba bacabanga ukuthi kungalayitha ezihlahleni khona apha egangeni lona leli ulogetso ngalayitha ezihlahleni zange sabathemba thina babuya bafaka amapholo bafaka bahamba nyasa kanti liyabota de besenza bacabanga ukuthi ugetsi ungalayitha khonapha abantu laba badlala ngathi la babuya afika baqolisa bathi hayi siyaqolisa abadala sesibuyile basebenza ukuze sikhole ukuthi kuyalayitha sabona baqala ukulayitha esikolo eBhembe esikolo sahamba sonke sabona sibili ukuthi kuyalayitha sathi manje lapha kuzalayitha bathi ye kuyalayitha sibili
leli ngabo Thomas phela leli
hayi sasingakholwa vele thina ukuthi kuzalayitha bathi sebebuya besilayithele bahamba belayitha sabona kuyalayitha sibili salayitha ngalayitha ilanga laza laphuma mina ngisithi kuyacicha lokho ngabona kuseni ibona kulokhu kukhanya kulayithile mina ngithe ngathi sembona sokunjalo ngagijima ngathatha ifridge.
Mangwenya is not the only one in this village who is excited. At the Ndlovu and Tlabangane homesteads, the smile on their faces, the rhythm in their feet, and the joy in their hearts is enough to show how they feel.
Finally, manna from heaven, abantwana baka-Israel. Lathi uNkulunkulu usibonile wasinika indaba ezinjengalezi. So sibona sibili ingani kungaya kuqhubeke kuthuthuka uhlelo luloke luqhubeke siyaphambili.
Siyancedakala kakhulu ngoba ukuthi asisaphotozi sayenzini sesithatha amanzi eduze impompi ngemuva kona.
Vuke kuseni angisaqala ukuthi imbuthu ngiqala ngiphayele ekitchen imbuthu umlotha ngiyedinga inkuni ngidinga umentshisi ngiyedinga okukupa upheka nje kade singezwa kodwa ngifuna ukupheka ngifuna ukupheka iporridge ngivuke kuseni ngiyageza amehlo ngifaka amanzi ami ngegedlela 5 minutes yabisibili
ngoba la sesiwe dimension amahloka ngisalole ngomlalazo semplaka uplaka qha lokhu welda imchina yonke ikhona khona pheka kulanto eshotayo noma uhamba ngale ndlela la uyahluka iroute sespeed uthi umuntu kathi lapha kungala ukuthi atuthe amapholo nanka kona mina vela ngikhuluma.
From Komnyamobambile, this village is now known as Emagetsini, and Maibongwe's signature dance speaks of a new lease of life, and as we leave this village, we see the excitement. President Mnangagwa has on various platforms spoken about the deliberate policies that have been put in place to ensure food security at household level.
The philosophy of the Second Republic is that we must develop an agricultural production model first, which must provide food security at the household level. We introduced Dambudzo. Dambudzo is designed to provide food security at the household level, at the village level, at the community level, and that we've achieved. So the role of government is to provide inputs at that level so that each household is given adequate seed and fertilizer for the Dambudzo plots at the village or household level. And I'm happy that it is a success. In fact, we are expanding that model of agriculture. Zimbabwe became independent in 1980. And the primary grievance of our revolution was our land. So there would be no fulfillment of our revolution without us owning the land. This is why with land reform, now it is behind us, it will never be reversed. It is in our hands. Our task, our challenge is to make it productive. And the government must assist our farmers of every level to be productive. We must modernize, we must mechanize for us to be self-sufficient. It's a priority of our government, our people, to be food secure. We also have a program now of dam construction. This is designed to guarantee us food security to mitigate against climate change, and we have now succeeded. Atichafi takaita nzara, mvura yakasonaya, mindi atiri kudiridza yakawanda kutipa enough food for ourselves. So, Madzimambo, our chiefs, you have the burden to make sure that the communities you lead should embrace the philosophy of self-sufficiency in the production of food. We give you free inputs under the Dambudzo model. We have just discovered now, instead of digging holes, the Minister of Agriculture, now there is an instrument which digs holes for you. In a year or two, we should be distributing these. So that instead of you digging, you just walk, you press a button, and the hole is dug, diggy, diggy, diggy. Science and technology. So who among you would want to be the last example? I, for one, would want to be remembered for peace, for unity, for production, for developing our country. And the evidence is there.
It is these policies that have seen the building of new dams and setting up of irrigation infrastructure. In Mount Darwin, the presidential bore drilling scheme has bore fruits, throwing a lifeline to the communities.
Tinoda kutenda vaMnangagwa zvavatiitira sokuti mashandiro anga tichiita nenyaya yemagadheni uko tichikuvara tichingokanda matini tichidhonza tichingodii tikatiga mugoro todai zvinezvi zvatiitira baba Mnangagwa izvi zvatotifadza nokuti isi tinowanikwa tiri chembere munomu, chembere dzinoenda kwadzene, vana vadiki vachingomhanya nobasa rinorema. Saka hatikungonzwa kufara isi chembere tongodzidzura tingopinda chete tingodzura zviri nyore.
Tatichera mvura kurefu zvachitiwadza sesu chembere kudai, saka kuzvino hatafara nokuti akuchera padhuze patepi namwe yapera. Nokuda kwaID totenda vaMnangagwa vanotida, vanotirangarira nesu tichavarangarirawo.
Zviri kuti basa nokuti akuwana mvura yekuitawo muriwo, yekuwachisa. Zvizhinji zvese isi madzimai sindita kunyanya batsirikana zvakanyanya takuavoida noise mudzimba nevarume vedu, nokuti nguva zhinji tikaswera takatarisana noise haiperi. Saka tikaoneka tiri munomu tichishanda semugadheni medu atikufaraka, noise inotopera kuti hatiswere tichionana. Tikaswera tichionana zvakatooma. Zvino totongotendawo president vedu naminista vedu vari kutisimudzira zvakanyanya. Saka izvozvo zvaiwa tiri kufara zvakanyanya. Tikufara zvisingaite nokuti marira inoita asingambofungidzira, but toda ngokutendai vanhu vaMwari kuti Mwari vakapindira mupfungwa dzenyu kuti marira iri kutambudzika. Ezvinezvi tatoimprova zvakanyanya.
Iko zvinezvi taiti takarima kana season yekurima yapfuura, mabasa anenge achitipa mari chirimo panga pasina. Saka iko zvinezvi kana takuita garden tangoramba tichingorima tichitengesa mbeu dzedu takakohwa tingonotengesa tichiwana zvinotibatsira.
The Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development continues to work with rural communities to attain the country's vision of food security.
Food security is a multi-dimensional approach, and which is why this ministry is a very broad mandate, from land where the production takes place to water, which is an enabler for the production for climate-proofing agriculture in the rural development context of 8.0. But we're putting a cocktail of measures, including the sustainable intensive conservation method, which is climate-proofed presidential input scheme, Dambudzo Intwasa, which is primarily a food security strategy at household level. And we have seen that the yields under Dambudzo have gone up to 5.3 tons per hectare compared to the conventional half a ton per hectare. So this way, we have now guaranteed Zimbabwe of food security, and we are secure at household level. There could be deficits here and there, but at a national level, we are indeed very food secure. The dimension is that for each of the households, we give them 3 plots. The first plot is a food security crop. If done well, they'll be able to get 20 times 50 kg bags, which is a ton and more than enough to feed their household. But in that basket, we also give them a commercial crop. Some we are giving sunflower. We are also giving them a traditional crop, because traditional crops like sorghum and the millets are also important, not just food security, but we also need to look at the nutrition dimension. And here in Mount Darwin, it is also a drier region, a cotton growing area, and we now have launched the presidential climate-proofed cotton scheme. So that is a direct cash crop. So this is now for food security, for nutrition security, for diversity of nutrition, but more importantly, we are now uplifting these communities because they now have crops to sell, so they are on their way out of poverty towards 2030. The farming as a business concept is being embraced. That is why we have said we need a transformation. Transformation at the capacitation level, the mental capacitation of our extension system, transiting from extensionists and trainers to become business advisors, because farming has become a business. This is why this past season we've introduced in each of the 35,000 villages one farmer field school for each village to take farming as a business. So they go in, they learn the practice, and then apply. So this is the business concept that is taking root. We have now also provided the physical motorization of the business advisory agri-tech system. So each of the 6,000 officers has a motorbike, is able to reach every household on average. they have 300 to 350 households that they look after. They no longer compete with the next extension officer. They compete with themselves. They do a baseline because they have the database of each of the households. It is uplifting that particular household, intervening at a household level and say, what are the specific circumstances of this household? How do we get them from 3 to 5 ducks? How do we get them from 2 donkeys to 10 donkeys? How do we get them from 2 cattle to 5? These are the specific aspects of uplifting people out of poverty. And this is the vision of the president. 9.2 million Zimbabweans, 61% of the population is in communities like this. So it is them that we must bring a few ranks up the ladder for Vision 2030 for the transformation to happen. But more importantly, no country in the world has transited from becoming a low income to upper income without increasing agricultural productivity. So we are on the right path and towards Vision 2030.
Fully aware that the rainfall patterns have changed, communal farmers still continue to take a gamble and plant. In Matabeleland South Province, we visit Mrs. Mayedwa Dube's homestead. Next to the homestead is a field of a wilting maize crop. Upon assessing the crop, it is obvious that they will salvage nothing. She actually wished the maize field was not so close to her homestead. The crop has failed, but all hope is not lost. She and many other villagers here have now pinned their hopes on the recently established Mchabe's irrigation scheme. After being told to clear the land more times than she can remember, Mrs. Dube said it was only last year that the establishment of the scheme finally took off.
Irrigation sibinto esifunayo kakhulu. Siyayifuna njalo futhi yasithabisa. Nxa sikhangele sana siyathaba senanzelela ukuthi irrigation lena njengoba nxa isikhona nje izulu lingekho. Silima ukudla kokuthelezela sizaphila labo lemuli. Kwakukhulunywa nje ukuthi kuyaba le irrigation kusicentise ukucentwe sibili. Zihlume izihlahla ziphinde zibuyele khona phana endaweni yabo. Phinde sibuyele sicente zibuyele izihlahla zibe sendaweni yazo. Kodwa kuthe last year sacenta singani siyakhonona ukuthi kambe yikho kodwa sacenta sabona sibili yikho sibi kuyavuma sabona sibi sihlanyela sibi ingqolo isibi sabona kuyavuma sabona ingqolo ivutwa sachampuru sabona lapha sesiphila yikho sokusenza sikhuthale kade.
Fellow beneficiaries of the irrigation scheme also have a story to tell.
Bekusenzeka lokho ukuthi nxa kuyiwa ekhethweni ngeminyaka yadla government oqala phakanyiswe kuthiwe izasebenza sazicenta izihlahla zikiswe ezinkulu kodwa kungalinywa ukulinywa kuqalise khathesi sesilo baba
nxa sisuka lapha njengoba amaplan akhona ukuthi sizakwazi ukuthi urana njani into zokulima njengebusiness.
Sithole irrigation lathi bese sithaba kakhulu ukuthi iyasincedisa endlaleni ngoba lapha vele indawo lezulu lakhona lelutshwana.
Nxa ilanga lithisile sibili ngananzelela ukuthi iningi lethu siyabe sesidinga ukuthi uhulumende asincedise.
From Matabeleland South, we head to Binga. This is a community whose livelihoods are centered on the mighty Zambezi River. The commissioning of fishing rigs by President Emmerson Mnangagwa has impacted positively on the lives of the ordinary people. We delve into the Zambezi waters at night as we accompany the women on a fishing expedition. Mavis Chuma and Spiwe Mudenda are among the beneficiaries, and for them it's the peace of mind that comes with knowing they can now pay fees for their children and provide the basic household requirements that pushes them to venture into these waters at night.
Tutenda labo songande yangu ndawa 50 kg yangu lya busu bana bangu bakudya tabachirala nzala pe kana kuti ndaula mabaketi anga abusu azipokwe bana bangu balya
akuti dwana kandiri kuya kumuntu lono sonde yangu muntu ndalomba don't you get don't school fees yamwana bakukonzika kundi kweretha kamboti ngabalapha ngizoti ndajogezika ndasikandi dosa mali kumuntu andime funda abantu ndabonekela kubenzuma ndakuziba ukuthi deni ndabona ndayithaso ndakompira kumuntu kandikwasa ndotinda konzika kuli gabidi lobo ake phepha maliga yakayithamule momo party kambo ndakuthambuleka zichemo zenku kubenzuma ndime kuti bezobaphona buseni bangaba abalimi bafundile bayide abandizikapo so kuti thake pokhede pamwe mutakali khede chindi ngathake phenyanga wakuvuka chichemo chako but athala amaliga ngithakabawo ono ndayinka ukumbila muntu awonze kondigwasa ulizo utheni ndajekwezika ndizawuthathike ndilajosi kalibo hambo wathi then swe muri bantu bachana kazi takaligamini takali kuli ndamali zokuthi then pa kuberekelwa bi waphegwa kanini katakhwani pot yothole mona uchikolo katakhwani pot then ule munye yawo nankathufuta lo mafuta ndawo inkamushepo ndabeza mafuta mona kamwesi ndapha mali yabo so vea lo muno mangu kandithambula kapoto ngambongolizo uthile balakazi bangu bali kukhava mnganda so biyale kakonzika biyafulumene ngathi imphawe kuyindili la mputha bali no tababole imali esunthisa muchisi chezo nga
bwasiyana abume mbundapona lino khambo lino kupona kundapona ako ngandaula mabhuku abana bangu nibajula chikolo ngandachanika ndaula kale mabhuku khambo auti ndakagwasigwa mbuli banakazi mbuli industry eya mupinga ni industry iri kuchanga ma farming ibalima cotton ibalima beans zonse zibalima abantu bapati balima ifoja andi ipolia iswo kuno tulima mantemba amabrimo baswi.
The construction of the Gwaishangani Lake is progressing well, and this massive project is expected to change livelihoods in the region. Apart from the creation of a green belt, the construction of this lake is expected to end Bulawayo's water challenges.
The progress has been incredible. From contemporary and historical comparisons of dam construction, this is the fastest that we've done, and thanks to the Second Republic. We are now at 70%, 39 meters. We only 20 meters to go to full supply level, but we wish to go to 72 meters, so we will be able to impound water this year. The other elements of this dam, as you know, there is a 10 megawatt power station. The construction is also going ahead. The pumping units for Bulawayo, the first one is also being constructed to conveyance water to Bulawayo. We also expect, as we saw at Jocholo, that irrigation can begin to invest in earnest.
The mining sector is making a significant contribution to the country's gross domestic product. Under the Second Republic, the sector has seen massive growth. Opening of new mines is propelling the country towards achieving a 12 billion mining industry by year end. Among one of the new mining projects is the Kamativi lithium mine. The reopening of this mine, which had closed in 1994, has breathed a new lease of life into Kamativi. This was once a vibrant tin mine, which is now reopening as a lithium mine. Mr. Spanda, an employee at the mine, narrates the impact of the closure of the mine. He is now employed at the mine upon its reopening.
Mina ngafika lapha ngaqalisa ngo-1971 ngisebenzela ikhampani naleyo kuthiwa iScotia Bricks. Ngazochiyana le khampani leyo sengithathwa yimine ngo-1980 sengijoyina iKhamativi ngoba yayibhilida izindlu yakhe izindlu zonke zeKhamativi yayihambe yakhela iKhamativi sibili siphume siyakha kwezinye indawo kodwa vele sibest khona apha eKhamativi kukhampani yena leyo. Ngazoyijoyina eKhamativi lapha sembaza amabhokisi ethini gcina sensenza imisebenzi etshiyeneyo okunye ndidrive i-forklift eyayilayisha ithini leyana ngiyikhweza ezimoteni kwazi ukuthi umgodi wazi wabuye kuvalweni ngo-1994 savala khonapha.
Mr. Spanda, who tells us his duties when the mine was still open, is hopeful that their lives will certainly improve.
Mine vuliwe zasizihlalile sibi zasilezi kuhle kakhulu hayi kwakurayithi kakhulu. Abanye bahamba abaningi bahamba sibili abakwanisa ukuthi bayale badingadinga kwezindawo hayi bahamba lapha nje bakwasala abangela ndawo zokuthi bangabamba ngapha. Ukuvulwa kayivule silesifiso kayivulwe labatawethu bazasebenza thina njengoba sesikhulile angazi ukuthi ngasakwanisa kodwa kunye ngamatemporary nxa singazi khona abantwana especially.
Power provision is key for economic development. The Southern African region has over the years faced power shortages, with Zimbabwe not being spared. The Second Republic moved in to augment the country's power supply through the construction of the Wange 7 and 8 stations. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has always emphasized the role of the country's young people in building the economy.
The journey began in April 2018 when I visited the People's Republic of China. And I had tete with my dear brother, the president of the People's Republic of China, H.E Jinping. That discussion, I said to him, I had a list of over 10 projects which I was shopping for his assistance. And he chose to make a political decision, which he said was being made by himself, not by the government of the People's of China. And he chose 4 projects, and one of the 4 projects was this one. And he awarded 1.3 billion, and now here it is 1.5 billion. But that time in April 2018, he said, my dear brother, I'm granting you a soft loan, a concessional loan of 1.3 billion to do Wange 7 and 8. Because for any development, for any modernization, in developing countries, energy is a critical enabler for our industrialization. And we as the Second Republic, we have not put our heads in the sand and said because there are sanctions, because the intention of those who put us under sanctions was that they wanted us to collapse. So we decided that we must look, one, into our own domestic resources for us to survive. Secondly, relate to our traditional friends to support us in our quest to leapfrog alongside the other developing countries. And this we have succeeded. In fact, I would say to those who have put sanctions, don't remove them, because this makes us think outside the box and develop more.
Young engineers trained at the country's institutions were part of the workforce who brought the power project into reality.
This is a very big project. It has seen locals being employed. Approximately at peak, we had about 4,600 local people. We engaged our local chiefs to engage the people who were working here. There's been a lot of knowledge transfer to the local people. Even as ZPC, as the monitoring team, we were responsible for quality assurance to ensure that the work that is being done will ensure that we have 600 megawatts in the grid. Currently, we are sitting at 91% completion, and we are on target to ensure that by 30 November, the first unit, which is Unit 7, will come onto the grid and will have extra power for Zimbabwe as we continue to power the nation.
Quite a complex project, and it takes at least 42 months to carry out such a project. And it's also a multinational project whereby we've got consultants from South Africa, Canada, we've got manufacturers as far as Europe. This being the biggest or a mega project that has been run during my lifetime. It's an honor to be running this project.
This has been a once-in-a-lifetime experience for me. For an engineer of my age, I think I'm one of the only persons actually in my class to be part of such a large project.
It's been a wonderful experience for me. Now where we are now commissioning most sections of the plant, I believe in the skills that I've amassed and the expertise indeed is applicable to the President's vision of taking the country's economy forward.
The completion of this project has had a significant contribution to the country's power supply. Village by village, province by province, the Second Republic continues on various strides to improve livelihoods.